And Cougar parents, let's take a look at tonight's homework, which will deal with solving equations, multi-step equations, with variables on both sides. This adds a little twist. The goal is to isolate the variable as always. That's how we solve these problems. But the trick is we need to get the variables only on one side. Okay, so we have to get rid of the variables from being on the one side and just have them on the other side. Let's take a look at a few problems. Boys and girls, let's start with number 1. Here we have 6r plus 7 is equal to 13 plus 7r. We can see that we have a variable on both sides. And when we have the variables on both sides, we need to remove the variable from one side and leave it on the other in order to isolate it. Because as long as we have variables on both sides, we cannot isolate the variable, which means get it all by itself on one side of the equal sign while having all of the mathematical numeric data on the other side. Okay, and my strategy here is I usually subtract, which if I notice I have fewer r's on one side, that's what I'll go after. And over here I notice I have 6 r's over here, so I'm going to subtract that. And when I do that, I have to do it to the other side. And what's nice about this is it'll leave a positive number of r's on the one side of the equation. Okay, all the r's are gone on this side, 6r, take away 6 r's. So I bring down my 7, and that will be equal to 13. And then if I have 7 r's and I take away 6 r's, that'll leave me with 1 r, okay, or just r. Now I have a simple one-step equation. I need to isolate the variable r. What's happening to it? I'm adding 13 to it. So I need to take away that 13. That's the inverse operation. And what I do to one side, I do to the other. And I am left with r is equal to 7 minus 13. What's the difference between 7 and 13? It's 6, and my answer is going to be negative 6. Think of it this way. I have $7 in my pocket, and I want to buy, I don't know, a new CD, if you still buy CDs, and it's $13. Well, I can't quite buy it. I'm actually $6 short. Let's take a look at number 5 next. Now, right off the bat, before we even begin isolating the variable, there's some simplifying we can do. We can combine some like terms. I see here I have a negative 14 and a 7 that I can combine, and I also have a positive 6b and a negative 2b. Now, a negative 14 and a positive 7 is going to give me negative 7, and then if I have 6 b's and I take away 2 b's, that's going to leave me with 4 b's. And all of that's going to be equal to 1 plus 5b. Okay, now what I have to do is get the variables on just one side of the equation. I'm still not even ready to isolate yet and do inverse operations. I see I have fewer b's here, so I'm going to take away 4b from this side. And what I do to one side of the equation, I need to do to the other. Okay, so I subtract that, and I get a negative 7 is equal to 1 plus 5b minus 4b is just 1b's left over. Okay, now I need to isolate the variable b. I have 1 being added to it. What's the inverse of that? Subtracting 1. And what I do to one side, I must do to the other. A negative 7 and a negative 8, a negative 7 and a negative 1 will be a negative 8, and a negative 8 is going to be equal to my b, because these guys cancel each other out. So b is equal to negative 8. Let's take a look at number 14. Number 14, when we look at the equation right away, you should see, hey, I've got parentheses here. I can't clean anything up on the inside, but I need to distribute, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to distribute the 7 to both of the terms inside the parentheses. 7 times 5a will give me 35a. 7 times a negative 4 will give me a negative 28. I know some of you are saying, that's minus 4. Listen, boys and girls, the sooner you embrace the truth that minus 4 is the same thing as negative 4, your math career will go a lot smoother and easier. Okay, subtracting is the same thing as a negative. Okay, because after all, what does negative 4 mean? It means minus 4. Okay, just had to say that. Bring down the rest of your information. Again, let's see, is there any terms that we can combine to simplify? And I do see that I can combine a negative 28 and a negative 1, which will give me negative 29. I'll bring down my 35a, as well as my 14 minus 8a. Now I need to get my variables on the same side. I'm always going to attack the little guy first, and I have fewer a's over here. Here I have a negative 8 a's. Over here I have 35 a's. So I'm going to add 8 a's to that side and add 8 a's to that side. Okay, they cancel out. Over here I get 35 a's plus 8 a's, which will give me 43 a's minus 29, and that's going to be equal to 14. The next thing I need to do is I need to get rid of, I see that now I can begin to isolate my variable. Let me see if I can slide this up a little bit. There we are. Okay, now we can begin to isolate our variable. What's happening to our variable a? If I was going to diagnose it, I'd say, well, it's being multiplied by 43 and also have 29 being taken away from it. I need to take care of whatever's being added or subtracted first. So I'm going to add 29 to get rid of the minus 29. And what I do to one side, I'll do to the other. Bring down my 43a, and sure enough, that's going to be equal to 43. And my last step is to divide, do the inverse operation of multiplying by 43, which is dividing by 43, and I will get a is equal to 1. Let's take a look at number 15. Again, I see that I need to simplify by distributing. I'm going to distribute the negative 5 to both the 1 and the 5x. A negative 5 times 1 will be a negative 5. A negative 5 times a positive 5x will be a negative 25x. And then I'm going to bring down my negative 5 right here. I've got bring down the rest of my mathematical information. Okay, we can simplify by combining these two like terms. A negative 5 and a negative 5 is a negative 10 minus 25x, and this is going to be equal to that. Okay, next, there's no more simplifying to do, so I need to begin to try to get my variables on one side. I see I have x's over here and x's over here. I'm going to attack the little guy. And which is smaller, a negative 4x or a negative 25x? Well, a negative 25x is. And how do I get rid of a negative 25x? I add 25x. And what I do to one side, I will do to the other. These guys cancel each other out. That brings down a negative 10. And then if I have a negative 4x plus 25x, that gives me 21x's. Okay, and that's a positive 21x. And I bring down my negative 31. I'm going to slide this up. Let's continue. Okay, now I have my variable just on one side. I need to isolate it. Well, I first need to get rid of this negative 31. I do that by doing the inverse of it, which is plus 31. And what I do to one side, I will do to the other. They cancel each other out. I bring down my 21x is equal to a negative 10 plus 31, which is a positive 21. And I undo, okay, I've got 21x. I do the inverse operation of 21 times x, which is divide by 21. And what I do to one side, I do to the other. And I get x is equal to 1, because 21 divided by 21 is 1. As always, I hope that was helpful, and if you have any questions, please bring them to class tomorrow. Looking forward to seeing you then. Bye-bye.